Hello and welcome to Dad and Sons. Liam is not here, thank God, because we don't have to use Skype. And our audio wouldn't fluctuate while we're recording, so it's great.
That's the only reason why you're thanking God?
Thank Jesus.
You're thanking God? That's like...
It's been a while since I've been on my knees.
Oh my God. You made me almost do a spit take, you scrub.
No, Liam is in Tokyo, walking around the game show, right? The Tokyo Game Show. He's at Tokyo Game Show, looking at all the games. Yes.
So this is just going to be a Dad and Son podcast. Me and Matt Visual are here by ourselves. We're going to try our darndest to hold down the fort while Dad is out. You ever have any fun stories from a child of when Dad's not home and something goes terribly wrong?
Yeah. You break something and you're like, okay, how can we fix this so Dad doesn't kill us or whip our ass when he comes home?
I don't know about...
And mine was a stepdad, so it was even worse.
Oh no, yeah, you've mentioned your scary stepdad in the past. Stepdad. I mean, I don't know if I want to bring this attempt at cute childhood anecdotes. I don't know if I want to bring this attempt at that to a very dark, scary place.
Oh yeah, let's bring it down. Let's get real on the podcast. Let's get real close to our microphones and just really dive into this real quick.
You remember in 1999 when Webvan existed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For all the children out there who are listening, there was a economic little recession. There was a bubble that burst, the .com bubble, when the internet was popping up. All sorts of stupid businesses were trying to capitalize, and only Amazon succeeded where a lot of others got consolidated out. One of which was a grocery delivery website called Webvan. And my dad in 1999 was the hugest .com bubble middle-aged dork. He really wanted to be a part of the internet mass popularizing, so he got himself a Dreamcast. You might wonder what that has to do with it, but
right.
If you think back really hard, you might remember that the Dreamcast was the first video game console to have online capabilities, outside of the weird dial into Sega channel or have a Nintendo disk drive in Japan. And he used the Sega Dreamcast to pop in a web browser CD-ROM disc.
Right.
It was a GD-ROM, rather, because Dreamcast, and ordered some groceries, and the delivery person came when Dad was not home, and I didn't know what to do, so I just stayed in the other room and played Skies of Arcadia by myself while the delivery man was ringing the doorbell, and undoubtedly heard the game.
Oh, no. Did he leave it in the front porch and it got all nasty and crusty?
I don't remember their procedure. I just remember being really afraid of another person at the door, and it wasn't that I was afraid of them breaking in and hurting me. I was just afraid of how awkward the conversation was going to be.
Wow. Oh my God. Even as a child, you did George things. Hi. Hi.
I'm sorry. When child George does things, how are they not George things?
Right. Well, so the way you are has always been George. There wasn't a point where George became George. You were always just George, from the womb. From going out. Did you cry? Did you cry, or was it just too awkward? You're like, oh, I don't want to bother the doctor.
Yeah. Maybe it was more of a wah.
Yeah, just one good one. Wah! And then that's it.
Just a single burst, like a squeeze of an air horn, and then I'm done.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it was like.
Oh, that's good. Oh, hey,
so
buddy.
That's
the dog
that's
just walked
the note
up.
We're starting off on. Oh, hi, doggy.
Prince, big old American bulldog.
So Matt,
Yeah.
we got to fill this stuff up with small talk.
With small thought, yeah. Welcome to Dad and Son. Who's the dad? Who's the son? Oh, you decide.
One of the two of us is one of the two of those.
I can't believe I've joined this stupid.
You're here now. All right.
Okay, so yeah, we did play some blops, some bloopers.
We actually did. Matt and I played a game together again. Since Monster Hunter World.
Together, it was probably less than 2 hours of like actual game time.
We had two good sessions.
That's all I can ask for from a friend that I've had for like 5 years. It's fine.
Well, the beta was up for 3 days, and we had 2 good sessions. We made good use of it. I feel like we saw a little bit of everything.
Yeah, just we dipped our toe in it. We dipped our toe in it.
I in the words of Matt Visual, I liked them. I liked the 2 sessions I spent with you, my good friend Matt Visual, on the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout Open Beta.
The last bit was a little anticlimactic, but it's fine. Like I found a chest, and it had a rocket launcher and a silenced assault rifle. With already a 2x scope on it and everything. Oh my god, what a sweet thing. And then of course you don't run into anybody. And then I die by drowning. But
we were moving tactical.
Perfect. You had iron lungs. I didn't. So you explain the game so they can understand what iron lungs is, like the perks.
Right.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, if you're a human being, you've probably played one of these games at least once in your lifetime. Matt and I have done Fortnite. I don't know. Did we ever do a PUBG together?
No.
Yeah, PUBG is something I've played on and off. I never really could quite get used to its pacing. That Arma DNA is still there. It's really slow. Your character is pretty slow. You have some predefined animation systems that keep you trucking sometimes when you hold a movement button and release. It feels clunky. And Fortnite polishes things up a degree, but you can still kind of feel like deep down on the inside there that it wasn't built for Battle Royale from the get-go. Like there aren't enough weapons to really populate the environment, so they use that color-coded ranking system, which, I don't know, if you're George and you have a perfectly fine, livable case of deuteranopia, then the blues and the purples blend together to quite similar shades. Fortnite, actually, if I remember it, I think it also had some weird performance issues going on at Tilted Towers that I wasn't getting with Call of Duty 8, Black Ops 4, Blackout.
Are we really at 8? I thought we were way past 8.
I'm thinking, that was just quick head math, okay? So Call of Duty 4 was Modern Warfare 1. So Call of Duty, I don't think they've ever labeled a Call of Duty 5. But if we're going in sequential order, the what numberth game in the series would Blops 4 be? Because Modern Warfare 2 would be... No, World at War, I guess, then would be Call of Duty 5. And then Modern Warfare 2 would be Call of Duty 6. And then Black Ops would be Call of Duty 7. And then
we're on Black Ops 4 right now. So it's definitely not
My
8.
God. Yeah, it's... Okay, what came after the first
let's
loops?
not do the math. There's so many Call of Duties.
Was it Ghosts?
Oh God, no, please.
well, Ghosts came out at some point, so that's Call of Duty 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
We're going down a rabbit hole.
How many fingers am I holding? Anyway,
you could Google, yeah.
The Call of Duty 12, Black Ops
16,
4,
a rough 16, 24.
Call of Duty 64.
Yes, Call of Duty 64.
Call of Duty 64, Black Ops 4, Blackout is a polished PUBG experience with much faster player movement, much smoother player movement, much smoother gunplay, to either the chagrin or the appreciation of others. It includes the perks from the Call of Duty series as activatable inventory items, kind of like in an old Quake game. You'd have an inventory that you circle through, then press I to activate your back to tank in Jedi Knight or something. Here you activate Iron Lung, lungs so that you can breathe in the water, unlike visual.
Yeah, and died. Like, he took one puff, he was like, and then I was like, okay, let me get up to the surface. I took a breath on the surface, went back down, died. And I was like, oh, okay. Where's the meter? Where's the meter?
These games involve a very personal. They tell a very personal, intimate story of traversing dangerous terrain, exposed to danger during very tense bouts of movement. That's one thing that I think I actually really like about the battle royale games that the other games don't capture, as well as the fear of the vulnerability. When you're in like Arma and you're scanning the horizon as you have to move across an open space, it's so scary. And it works well here. Thing is, what surprised me is that I actually felt like I could see the danger coming. If I was about to walk into a gunfight or get ambushed by someone, I'd get some kind of visual hints as to what it was. There's always a player count in the upper right corner of the screen, a shrinking circle, gunfire like in the distance that will clue you in as to where the danger is and where it isn't. Oh, and environmental storytelling kind of dynamically happens in these games too. There's a lot of houses to hide in, and if the houses have their doors open or their windows broken, or if there even is less loot in one house than the other, you can tell ahead of time that someone might be hiding in them somewhere to kind of get you mentally prepped before you see it coming.
And there's a lot of loot everywhere. A lot of like you're
yeah, but not a lot of level 3 armor.
No, the armor is rare, so you can get a gun pretty quick. Like, you're not gonna jump down into like the middle of nowhere and not have like a bunch of weapons and a bunch of health and stuff like that. Like you're kind of on a level playing field until you're kind of start going out there. Packs. You know, you get an ATV if you go to like some of the zombie areas, then you'll get way better loot than everyone else. If you find some armor, then you're way tankier than everybody else.
Oh yeah, and I really like that. I like that there are little zombie spots. You can go there and harass other players whose attention is going to be turned to the zombies, or you can go there and fight the zombies. They drop really great loot, and you could just get something really good early on in the game, and it would require a active challenge. Action would happen, combat would happen, but against a safe, predictable foe instead of another player who just kill you instantly. The zombies provide a nice distraction and active gameplay mechanic that gives you something to do in the downtime. Like in Fortnite, you can build and collect resources in the downtime, and in Call of Duty, you decide whether or not you want to go to where the zombies are.
Yeah, and the zombies are not so hard. I don't know if they're gonna change that a little bit later. There are distractions, so if someone else tries to come up on you, so if two groups, then I could totally see the zombies being a threat. But if you're going there with a group or by yourself, you should be fine. But I think they tailor it, just in case so you don't get overwhelmed, for a solo player. And
they're more for just like getting you looking away from where the other players are. Shoot the zombies, give away your position at the risk. That's your risk. The reward
there's a big beam of light. So if you hear gunfire and a big beam of light, like, everyone can see where you're at. So if you hear gunshot in that direction and you see the big beam of light from like the freaking heavens going down to the to the freaking earth, then you know that they're trying to get some loot, some really good loot. And you would have to open a chest that opens a menu so it stops you completely, unless you can move while you're in that inventory section. You said there was an option.
I don't think you can move with you can move with the map screen.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Covering up your face. I don't know if you can move with the inventory screen covering up your face, but don't quote me on that. Verbatim. I did look through the options screen at all the options. Didn't get to experiment with them one at a time. But this is okay for how unremarkable it might be that Call of Duty attempts a battle royale genre, and Call of Duty, with its 15 years of established technology and mechanics and assets, manages to make a polished, slick version of battle royale. This game has the best graphics options menu I've ever seen, and I don't even think that's a hyperbolic statement. I think it's just a boring declaration of fact. every single graphic option in there. Okay, no. Most graphic options in there have a preview image. Like, they have the NVIDIA tweak guide built in to the game's menu. You can activate a GPU temperature monitor. What the hell? So that you can monitor your NVIDIA 960 GPU.
You can do that in some games. A lot of games, though.
They have an option in the menu
Not
for
in
it?
the menu. You would have to do some, like, Alt-Shift
Yeah.
F function thing.
That makes all the difference in the world. Now you don't have to with the revolutionary Call of Duty 64 Black Ops 4 Blackout Edition. Man, I liked it and everything, but I have to wonder if I would pay $60 for that.
I just don't know if I'm completely into this type of game to pay that much for it.
I'd worry about the lasting value not being there too, because I had fun with it here. I don't know if I'd had fun with it like after 2 weeks straight of playing it.
Yeah, when you come home, do you think, oh man, I gotta really get a game of Call of Duty Black Ops? No, I don't.
Could see it for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but not like over time. I mean, that's just us because we're just old farts. But I don't know. We've never been into the genre in the first place. So I think for people in the genre, they might really like this, especially a Call of Duty flavor of it. But for people who don't normally into it or not normally into it, they're probably not.
I mean, one thing that I actually kind of appreciate is that it seems like a nice middle ground between the milsim DNA of PUBG and the more arcadey and slick experiences you get elsewhere. Because like Call of Duty guns, they all kind of feel the same. They don't really have very intense recoil patterns. They sound like lightweight and poppy and papery. But when you're fighting with them over this distance, their recoil actually matters, unlike in the other games. But it's not like PUBG where you have to spend a good 6 seconds lining up a shot adjusting for bullet drop. It's more like you spend 1 second lining up a shot, looking at how your tracer does, and then adjusting for that, and it feels slick, it feels responsive, it feels snappy and polished. And
I think
the guns
they did a better job with the guns from what I remember of Call of Duty. I don't know if they've recently changed it. I know they keep switching developers so they can come out every year, but at least this one, it felt good, and the sound design was actually pretty decent too, and it kind of threw me off. I was like, whoa, this gun feels good. I thought it was gonna be like the paper feel, where you're just shooting, a shooting gallery of just, Paper Mario stuff. It felt good. So when you shot someone, someone, I don't know where. I think that might have been my cousin. He just installed she just installed a train horn into her car. So
a train horn?
A train horn.
Is that legal?
Probably not.
What is there going to be a train horn in the background of our podcast?
I think that's what it was. I
mean, we've been to bad places here on the Dad and Son podcast before with Mr. Driller. Maybe Mrs. Horn.
No,
will be our next big obstacle.
No, I don't think. I don't think he's good. I think the husband is usually the one who presses it. I don't think he's just gonna be pressing it all the time. So we're good. We're good.
I think I read in a review of this mode, a little editorial post, that they described the guns as being a more honest presentation of Call of Duty guns than usual, because you don't even really get to use them over this long of a distance in those games. Like, you don't know what they feel like at this long of a distance, and I feel like that just the distance alone is enough to make them feel better, because you do have to pay attention to your aim more here than in the others.
Yeah,
because of how how long distance the combat is. The spray and pray close quarters combat of COD now feels like a more tactical outdoors snipe everyone, even though you have an SMG kind of combat, and that means that you can't just point and click on them.
The assault. We died like twice for a guy sniping with an SMG. Well, not SMG. One with an SMG, one with a LMG.
But sometimes, you got those moments where you creep through the houseboats out of covers, you hear a lot of gunfire above you, see people above you, and you're still hidden. There's stealth to it too, and I like that. Multiplayer stealth is something that I think I love. It feels so cheeky and clever.
Yeah, I mean, the kill cam though. Kill cam, I don't know. Still evokes some anger in me.
Don't know if you trust the kill cam. Well, hey. Anyways, I just want to say that after Matt drowned, I continued on our journey with the very rare rocket launcher until I got sniped at by some asshole who parked a helicopter on a roof. So I just shot his helicopter and walked away, and he had no more helicopter.
No, you had a rocket launcher.
I blew up his helicopter and walked away. I shot his helicopter with the rocket launcher.
And then, how did you die?
I think I got shot by another player eventually. The point is,
I like how we
not
both
that was not
remember.
as exciting. Because the actual end of that match was less memorable than the super cool like the solid snake sneaking through the bush for 5 minutes we were doing around that gaggle of combat. Remember when we were sprinting through the closing circle, like using med kits as our health was decreasing? That was fun. We had fun. We had good fun. I heard you have fun. Yeah. Don't you try to lie to me. I heard fun.
Well, I had some quality time with my man George, so you can't really put.
I hope I'm your main man.
My main man George. It's lonely over here, George. It's lonely. All right,
man. How are you holding up?
I'm doing all right. George. Doing all right. It's nice being in a new place. It makes me feel like going to a bunch of other states. But for right now,
because last night when we were playing Call of Duty 64 Black Ops 4 Blackout Beta Edition,
wow.
you said you really liked how you have a selection of outdoor activities. It's not just hiking or biking out there. It's a little bit of everything.
There's a lot to do in California. I mean, the rent might be expensive. But my God, there's you can snowboard. You can there's beaches everywhere. Like I'm used to Miami, where the beaches is like a luxury. Here you can just park at the beach for like $4. And it's parking like right at the beach, like you're right at the beach, like oceanside. Here you got like a ton of clubs, a ton of bars, if that's your thing. You got a ton of museums, you got zoos.
If that's your thing.
You got you got go-karts, you got skydiving. Well, skydiving is kind of everywhere. Trampoline park. Where you just jump on trampoline, like the whole place is full of trampolines.
It's like a trampolinatorium.
Yeah, tons of food, all mixed with stuff. Obviously it's California, so like if you're looking for that good Jamaican food or something like that, like authentic stuff, unless it's Mexican food you're looking for with authenticity, you probably better off going like to Miami or something real close to the islands. But like the food is good. Especially if you're vegan, you got a bunch of vegan options around here. Because everyone here is just like super hipster. Well, not everyone, but there's a lot of hipsters around here.
The land of my people.
Yeah. But yeah, there's like tons of stuff. Like every day, there's always something new that my cousin is telling me that we should do. And I'm just like, what is that? What is that? And explain. I'm like, okay, yeah, we do that too. We'll do that too. Yeah, so when coming from Georgia, where there's just nothing, there's nothing to do.
What? You don't like Stone Mountain?
That's like one. Oh, you get to hike Stone Mountain.
Yeah. Checkmate.
Yeah, there's a lot of hikes over here too, and I'm looking at a mountain. I'm literally looking at a mountain right now. It's a drastic change. Anyways, yeah, California.
Anyway,
very very interesting state. Very very interesting state. I'll see how it is after a few get to know the people here. Get to know the people.
Have you found any black people?
They're still very small. Like San Diego, I looked it up. It's 7%. It's even lower.
What was
It's better than Orange County.
Yeah, which was a 1 something percent. Wow. Oh.
When I went to LA, there was a lot. There was a lot more. A lot more of a mix. But yeah, I guess California is just like that. It's just weird for me because I grew up in Florida, and then when I went to Atlanta, like there was just everyone. There was black and white, pretty much, and some Asian.
Now that we've finished talking about real life,
yeah,
maybe we should move back to
video
fake
games?
life. You played anything? Watch anything? Imagine anything?
I played a little bit of We Happy Few.
Oh, okay.
I was in a beta a long time ago.
There's been a lot of gripes about the way that game has turned out too, and I had my hopes up, and I will admit that I have not played it, but I was looking forward to playing it, and then after some negative impressions came in from Jim Sterling and others, my interest really just
died.
Tanked.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, because their last game was all right. The Contrast was a cute little puzzle platformer. It was had an inventive idea. You played shadow platforming games with the shadows you casted on the wall in 3D. You played a little 2D platformer with those. And now they did this like interesting
Survival.
BioShock thing.
Yeah, that's the feel of it, right? And then
the look,
and
at
it
least.
was it's a survival game, and I remember playing this back in beta, and it was so annoying. Like you have to eat and drink, and it's not like you don't know how to eat properly. Like you're just grabbing a bunch of flowers outside, and you're like, okay, this will help.
Stuffing them down.
Yeah, like it's just like it doesn't really teach you like what you're supposed to do, and you don't want the player to feel like that. Like you feel like, okay, I'm getting hungry because I slept and I need to heal health. So what the hell do I do now?
You're getting hungry because you slept.
Yes. Like it, and it still happens. It still happens. When I played it a couple days ago, it still happens. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stuff myself with flowers. That I wanted to make some healing bong or whatever it's called.
Some healing bong?
Balm.
Oh, my bad. I think I misheard you there.
No, I'm pretty sure I said bong.
So what are you doing besides surviving in this town?
Right,
I understand there's a story you're supposed to be doing as well.
There's a story, and they definitely fleshed it out. I only played a couple hours, so I don't know everything, but so far it's interesting. It's cool. I mean, you've played the first part, which I'm pretty sure everyone has seen. And then they ironed out that first part quite a bit. And then there's like a story that happens after that. So it's not like you're just out in the open world and nothing happens. It gets a little scripted as well in certain parts, but the survival aspect is still there. So you're still getting hungry. And it's weird to be getting hungry and thirsty and stuff while you're doing a scripted event that doesn't allow you to eat and drink. It's just a little weird.
Yeah, that sounds really
it's weird.
Dumb.
You have it show up on the top left corner of the screen, and I don't know, it does something to the player. The player looks at it and like, I have to eat, I have to drink, and then it's just bothering you. It's just bothering you the whole time.
But the story missions will slap you in areas where you can't.
I'll just say, like, I got captured. So How am I supposed to do this? Well, I'm supposed to, and I got my inventory taken away. Does that sound right to you? That doesn't sound right. In the beginning of the game, teaching the player, like, why would you do that? Like, do that type of stuff, like, near the middle or something.
Oh, it happened during the tutorial. I was about to say, like, what if it's supposed to be a fun, whoops, I got to rethink my whole gameplay strategy, but by then you should at least know what your regular gameplay strategy should be.
No, this is, like, in the beginning of the game, man. This is the beginning of the game.
All right.
Yeah, like, you're following the quest, like, literally the first quest, pretty much, after the first, like, scripted bit, I guess you can say, or the introduction, is this area, and you get your inventory taken away, and you get captured, pretty much, and you're just kind of like, okay, how am I supposed to eat? How am I supposed to eat? I mean, they don't kill you,
Grubhub,
of course, but it's just weird. And I ended up just putting it down. It's just like, oh, okay, I'll just play this later. But, you know, that's just rough thoughts. You know, I could be totally wrong. There might be a totally different way to go about that story, and I just went the worst way. You know, take it with a grain of salt. But, like, it doesn't give you a good first impression. It doesn't give you a good first impression. I'm not into the survival stuff, especially if it's done like that. You know, give me an option. Like, tell me what I'm supposed to do. Like, or make it, or give me some clues while I'm walking around. Don't just give me a bunch of flowers to pick. You know, just like, oh, you can make bread with this. Okay, thanks. Like, I'll go back to my safe area and make some bread and then eat. You know, give me plenty of it in the beginning, and then, you know, teach me the certain areas where I'm supposed to go. So, you know, when you take it away, I know exactly what I need to do. Like, I don't get it. Like, this is like what you learn in the beginning phase of, like, game design, right? Like, like, it's all about, like, player psychology.
One at a time.
It's weird to me. It's weird to me when I see stuff like that. I was like, okay, come on, guys.
It sounds like there's some complex social interactive systems going on that the game doesn't have a good tutorial or level design to ease you into it. It sounds like it's throwing you into stuff that you haven't been taught.
Yeah. I mean, there are ways to teach complex stuff. I mean, just slowly bring it in. You know, little by little. You know, just don't thrust the player out, and and then you can have that option, like, oh, you want to be thrusted out and learn and die in the beginning, and, you know, you have that option, and you pick it. Yeah, that's how they do it. That's why they should.
I mean, when you load into, like, Minecraft, like, you're pretty much thrown into a cryptic mid game, and it's a little friendly. You have a whole day.
Yeah, but there's pigs around. You're hungry. You kill the pig. You eat.
You kind of are gonna go through it in a natural, intuitive way.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel that weird to think about. Yeah, kill a pig, eat the pig meat.
It's just like that. Like, you get that.
You don't got to make a health bong.
Yeah.
You don't have to blow glass and, like, put together a crafting equipment piece to eat the pig.
You eat the pig.
You just kill the pig and eat it.
Kill the pig and eat it.
Like in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh my god. Of course. You find a way. You always do.
So I've kept the stream up. I think I'm going to be finishing it up this week, but I just want to point out that my microphone, I want to retell a fun story, rather, of when I ran off during the bathroom during a cutscene for a break, and when I came back, my microphone input was just, like, not working. So I quickly thought up a plan B, and I switched the OBS streaming mic to my desk mic that I turned around and pointed at my living room. And I just started, like, shouting stuff that was echoing across the room into the the room I was playing the game in. So do you remember the scene where Snake is getting tortured by Volgan and they tear his eye out and it's really brutal and everything?
Yeah.
Imagine, if you will, that scene playing, but in the background you hear me going like, "Ow! That was my eye!"
Oh my god.
And the boss is like, "Nothing is more important than a soldier's eye." And I'm like, "Why would you do that?"
Oh my.
I have been told that I managed to make lemonade out of a situation in which God had given me lemons. And for people who want to see this, search for the Super Bunny Hop second channel, and you'll find some backups of the streams I've been doing. I'm gonna start some new novelty playthroughs once I'm done with Metal Gear Solid 3. But if you find part 7 and skip to an hour and 26 minutes, I'm giving really specific instructions for people listening to this on like a road that they're driving 60 miles per hour on top of. But yeah, I I made a stupid gimmick out of a disastrous technical disaster, and it was a lot of fun and hilarious, and oh, what a good video game.
Yeah, it's I would like to play through it again, just for the giggles, to see if I still would like it, like 5 years from now. 5 years from now.
Those controls have aged, but the story is just classic at this point. Like it's still good. It's definitely the story is now beginning to age. The control scheme aged really, really fast, but I think now we're getting to a point where stories of like self-identified nationalists going through a military drama are starting to come off as pretty schmaltzy, especially like all the anime posing I didn't notice the characters were doing before. Now that video games have a lot more realistic motion capture in their cutscenes, and that we are used to Western games with high fidelity cinematic storytelling by characters who mumble out lines like they're in an Oscar bait movie. A game where characters deliver their lines with exaggerated reading that almost strikes a monotone sense of voice while they're anime posing, like doing some jazz hands in front of the camera. And winking at it and giving it the good side of their face. It feels almost less subtle than in my younger years when the stuff was harder to spot, and it's adorable. It's still adorable.
Yeah, it's amazing going back to things like that. Like, oh man, I liked this at one time, and I didn't know. Ignorance is bliss, my friend.
So besides that, I've been playing Blops, playing Metal Gear. I watched 2 Werner Herzog documentaries with the girlfriend. Matt, have you heard of either of these films, Grizzly Man or Cave of Forgotten Dreams?
No.
Do you know who Werner Herzog is?
No.
Werner Herzog is a German filmmaker who has a series of documentaries that are hilarious. They'll basically be him going on like vacation to a kind of esoteric, uncharacteristic destination in which he'll try his darndest to make a movie out of. I don't know. It really is like professional, well-made documenting from beginning to end. But I like the thought of this depressed German existentialist just like pulling the camera out during his vacations and making an excuse out of it. In Cave of Forgotten Dreams, he visits a cave in France that has some cave paintings in it from 30,000 years ago. And the paintings have been preserved very, very well. The cave got sealed up, and the atmosphere inside has been undisturbed for thousands of years. And the lines on the paintings are still sharp and clean, and you can see calcite deposits forming on top of the paint that these people were scribbling animals on thousands of years ago. And the animal scribbles that they were making had like animation going on. There are multiple frames of animals moving around that you can cast your arms as shadows in front of to create a moving image effect that these people had apparently figured out 30,000 years ago, and it absolutely terrified me. The documentary guy who's narrating it all, Werner Herzog, though, what makes him so hilarious is his beautiful German accented voice. He will narrate over montages of these cave paintings, saying things like, "Is it not striking that Pablo Picasso, 30,000 years later, used the same motif in his art?" And occasionally it'll cut to this guy interviewing some like real working class technician who's like setting up 3D scanners to scan the caves or something. And Werner Herzog will cut to a shot of this guy in like a filthy jacket, hard at work, being like, "Well, as you can see, archaeology is less about going on adventures than making very, very highly accurate reproductions of the dig sites." And then Werner Herzog will be like, "Do you believe this cave is where the human soul began? What is humanness?"
Wow.
The guy's eyes just kind of like pop, and they're like, well, this is the earliest sighting of cave paintings we have found. Like, just trying to answer a way more highbrow question than they were prepared for. And I found it terrifying. I found this documentary about these cave paintings absolutely existentially terrifying, because it was a stark reminder of just what a celestial astronomical consequence existence is. I am so lucky that for the past 30,000 years human beings have kept reproducing and produced me. Ooh. And I am so lucky that for millions of years before that, animals had somehow figured out how to think and become people. And whoa, imagine if that didn't happen.
Reminds me of all the like Richard Dawkins interviews that I've been watching. Like, for some reason, YouTube recommended that, and just like he's just been just watching him just go ham on evolution.
You got to be a little careful with Richard Dawkins these days.
Why?
I'm all about, like, you know, learning science and stuff, but when it comes to bleeding the line over to being douchey to other people, that's a line I don't want to cross.
Yeah.
Sometimes he might cross that line.
He crosses that line. He crosses that line quite often. I'm like, oh my god, he's a madman who likes to shut people down. And thinks that creationism or, you know, shouldn't exist and stuff, or religion in general shouldn't exist. It's very, very interesting.
Whereas Werner Herzog probably thinks that it's all just a hilarious byproduct of people being insecure about their own humanity. God, I love this guy.
And being scared of what happens when you die.
Oh yeah. Maybe you find out who made those cave paintings.
Oh God. Or God.
Or
God.
Maybe it'll be a terrifying mystery that'll stick around for millions more years.
Nobody knows. Hey, we're getting way too on the line on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
We should probably get away from the line.
And it's just the two of us.
Yeah. Everyone's just gonna be like, so what you guys believe in, huh? What you guys believe in? What is your political view?
Well, as of right now, we gotta, just make money and survive by the system we were all born in, regardless of what we believe, right? That's just living.
Love it. What an answer. Oh my gosh. It's like you've been doing this for years.
I can't tell if you're laughing at me or like a thought you had about me. Like, did I trigger the laughter, or did you just come up with something in that head of yours that is too spicy for you to like reveal to us?
Maybe a little bit of both.
So Liam is in Tokyo right now. We did not get a media badge, and he is staying in a hostel with loud people and does not have a quiet place to record. So what he did was Yeah, before he left, he didn't want to bring his laptop with him, actually, for kind of sort of that reason. Before he left, he recorded a segment for us to use in which he describes his reactions to some Nintendo Direct news of last week. I'm going to edit it up. I'm going to make it real cute. I'm going to make it fun to listen to, and we will more or less use that for our break this week. Matt and I will be back in just a few minutes after the bathroom for listener questions.
Yep, gotta drain the weasel.
Hello, and welcome to your favorite absent dad and son solo show. Obviously, Matt and George are heathens, and they won't talk about the Nintendo Direct news because they're VR nerds, and Matt doesn't like video games. So, it's up to me, your favorite absent son, who's gone out for a pack of smokes at this year's Tokyo Game Show. By the way, I'm in Tokyo right now. So, it's up to me to talk about what Uncle Nintendo has been bringing us this week with the Nintendo Direct, because there was a lot of stuff. For starters, it was delayed because of the horrible typhoon and the earthquake that we had, that we spoke about on the previous Dad and Sons. Japan's getting fucking battered. We're getting destroyed over here. I'm surprised the country's still standing. But anyway, we stayed alive long enough to see a new Luigi's Mansion. They just came out right out of the gate with that shit. Obviously, they're bringing Luigi's Mansion to the Nintendo 3DS for some reason, with co-op play that the frame rate looked incredibly bad for, but yeah. So Luigi's Mansion is coming to Nintendo 3DS soon, and now we have Luigi's Mansion 3, which is really cool because Luigi's Mansion games are always fun. Dark Moon, the one on the 3DS before, the number 2, that was pretty good. So now we have this new one, Luigi's Mansion 3, and it's coming to the Switch, which is great, and it looks graphically very, very nice. Kind of looks like a high-res GameCube version of Luigi's Mansion. So that was a cool, like, cold opening straight into the Nintendo Direct, and from there, then we went into some other cool stuff. Basically, we had all the 3DS games that not many people are probably going to play. Kirby's Epic Yarn, Extra Epic Yarn, a remake of the Wii game back in, what, 2009, I think? Yeah, so we have a remake for that for the Nintendo 3DS. We had the Mario and Luigi's Bowser Inside Journey, which features Bowser Jr.'s side story, which kind of looks like a weird tactical tower defense game, which I can dig. I like the Mario and Luigi games. They're nice, sort of comforting RPG experiences. But on the 3DS, man, keeping that thing still going. And then we had Luigi's Mansion, and then we had Yokai Watch Blasters. So, 3DS is alive and kicking. That's cool. Fine. If you got that, that's cool. I like the 3DS, but I haven't picked it up for a long time. I'm literally staring at my Majora's Mask 3DS and being like, I remember you. You were cool. Now we have a better handheld, and that's when we moved on to the Switch. Now, the Switch is fucking doing, like, hot shit. Let's all be honest. At this point, if you don't own a Switch, unfortunately, if you don't own a Switch for monetarily reasons, that sucks. But if you haven't taken a Switch and you do have the money and you're buying, like, other stuff, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Like, the abundance of first-party games, we already have it on it, forgetting what Matt and George say about Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, whatever. But, you know, games like Splatoon 2, which is still receiving updates. We obviously have Mario Tennis Aces. We have Mario Kart 8. And then, you know, we have all those incredible indie games that are coming out as well. But now we have even more stuff. Even more stuff coming to the Nintendo Switch. It's just getting even bigger. Of course, it starts with Mega Man 11, which is coming out soon, and the free demo is out right now. I actually wanted to talk about it last week on Dad and Sons, but obviously I spent too long talking about Spider-Man. But the demo's really good. Feels really nice. Feels like Mega Man, which is exactly what we want out of a Mega Man 11 game. It has lots of polish, looks really nice. The new gear system, I like it. I'm digging it. It's cool. If you are interested in Mega Man, you should download the demo and play it. that looks really good. So I'm probably going to pick up that game when that comes out. Mario Tennis Aces, as I said, the first party game is receiving a new update with new characters. That's cool. Sure. More updates from stuff like other first party stuff is cool. You know, keeping those games with long tails is always fun if you're interested in those things. But what we're more interested in is Capcom releasing older games for the Nintendo Switch, because we can't get enough of that. So for some reason, Capcom are releasing like a beat-em-up bundle for the Nintendo Switch that has 7 games in it. I forget what the games were. It was like Final Fight, Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage? Was it Streets of Rage? No, it wasn't Streets of Rage. What am I thinking about? What was it? Oh my god. Why did I not Google this before I started recording? I just have it written down, but I didn't write down the games. Capcom bundle announced, where it comes with 7 flavors of Whoop-Ass, says Game Radar. So it comes with Final Fight, Captain Commando, Battle Circuit, Knights of the Round, Warriors of Fate, and Armored Warriors, and the King of Dragons. Now they all look pretty sweet, and that looks really cool, especially, you know, Captain Commando is fucking awesome, and Final Fight is, you know, it's got fucking Maya Hagar in it. So the other games must be fun too. I don't think I've ever played them. I think Battle Circuit and Armored Warriors, they've only ever been available like on arcade versions, so that'll be fun to check those out. It's gonna be $20. Sounds like fun. If you're into that kind of thing, you know, you can have the Joy-Cons. You play 2-player. I mean, it's like multiplayer is like key to beat 'em up games like this, so it'll be fun. But moving on from there, we get even cooler news. We get Katamari Damacy Reroll. We have a remastered version of Katamari Damacy coming to the Nintendo Switch, which is super cool. Who would have thought that was happening? The Nintendo Switch is this weird place for older games to just, because it's easy to port games to the Switch, for them to do it. And with Nintendo being a bit more open about publishers and self-publishing game studios releasing games on the Switch now, we're gonna see crazy stuff like Saints Row 3 having a remaster for the Switch, not a remaster, but a port, and having like Katamari Damacy for the Switch. Super weird, but I'm cool with it. Like, the more games, the merrier, especially if it's like old games you missed the first time around. And obviously Katamari Damacy is now what? Going on like 15 years old from the PlayStation 2 original, or whenever it was originally announced, 2004 maybe. Yeah, now we get a brand new remaster of it for the Nintendo Switch, which is great, and I'm down for that. More Katamari Damacy is great. Keita Takahashi is a crazy dude, and his new game Watum looks awesome. So yeah, that just added more weight to this pretty stellar Nintendo Direct, if I'm honest. From there, we then had like new Super Mario Bros. U, the Wii U Super Mario Bros. Game that has the most ridiculous title now, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. So that's coming to the Switch, so you can play multiplayer, and it has the new Super Mario Bros. Luigi, which was like an updated version of that game with Luigi as the main character. That comes in it too, and it comes with like 164 plus levels or whatever. And also had this really strange thing where you can play as Toadette and Nabbit, and Toadette turns into Peachette? What the fuck was that all about? So now Toads turn into humans? Does that mean Toad turns into Mario when he transforms? So confused. But yeah, that looks pretty cool. If you missed that, that's a pretty solid side-scrolling Mario game. It's not the best, I don't think, but I mean, more Mario games for the Switch is pretty cool. Then we had like more trailer announcements for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, secret techniques and hairstyles and other weird stuff that they're doing with that game. I'm still totally not sold on the whole Pokemon Go gameplay mechanic. That sucks. I don't like it, but we'll see. Then we got Diablo 3, that's coming. You can play as Ganon, which is fucking cool. Roaming around as the Prince of Darkness while he's like fucking up some demons. Will be cool. Super Mario Party is looking like a Mario Party game. That's coming on October 5th, which is like next month. Ugh. Wow, that's fast. But yeah, I don't have any friends, so I won't be playing Mario Party. Game Freak, they're developing a new RPG, although the title is currently unconfirmed, but the code name is Town. And like in the direct, it looked pretty interesting, but then they said like the game takes place entirely in one town, and that town looked really small, so that didn't sound very good. But it's a Game Freak game, you know, the guy's responsible for Pokemon, so who knows. They've made other stuff like what was it, Tambo the Elephant. There was like a platforming elephant game. They made another game last year that they released that I forget the name of, that was like to do with electricity platforming or something. They make these odd games that come out, and I guess they'll never be able to step away from the Pokemon series, but it's cool to see them being able to do other stuff other than Pokemon. There was other announcements like City Skylines is coming to the Switch. It was out the day of the Nintendo Direct. Having more games like that really rounds out the Switch. There's this weird problem that Nintendo have had for so many years. Obviously, we've had the whole Wii U thing where they tried to aim for third parties. They failed miserably. We had like ports of like Batman Arkham City, Assassin's Creed 4, and that was basically it. You didn't have any third parties, and the Nintendo Wii just had shovelware third parties or shitty ports of like Call of Duty games and other stuff like that. Nintendo consoles have always been incredible because of first party and other second party studios around that, you know, like Intelligent Systems and Game Freak and other stuff like that, which have made them worth having. But there's always been like this lack of all-roundness that you get with like PlayStation and Xbox, whereas they have a variety of different genres, from like shooters to platformers to strategy games to fighting games and all that kind of things, whereas Nintendo games have always just had Nintendo games on them, which, you know, can kind of pocket it into a genre. But now with the Switch, we're seeing stuff like City Skyline. Who would have thought like this sort of city building simulation game would be on a Nintendo handheld console thing? And on top of that, we're getting Civilization 6. We're getting a Civ game on the Switch. That's mental. So where this kind of thing is adding more weight to why the Switch is probably the best Nintendo console ever, in my opinion. It's really getting up there. Of course, we have, you know, the Super Nintendo is amazing, and N64 is held in high regard by many people, and, you know, GameCube and whatever have you. But in terms of like all-roundness, we get like the amazing first party from Nintendo that we've always had. We get stuff from game developers like Intelligent Systems with the new Fire Emblem game. We have like Hyrule Warriors and other side stuff from Nintendo that looks really good. But now we're getting all these other games from third-party studios, and we're getting like games that we would never have seen on a Nintendo console prior. Stuff like City Skylines, Civilization 6, and we're getting board games, tabletop board games on the Nintendo Switch as well from Asmodee Digital. Stuff like Carcassonne, I think that's how you pronounce that. The Lord of the Rings card game, and like Pandemic. The Switch is just gonna have all these crazy things where you can play like Hollow Knight, and then you can play Mario Odyssey, and then you can play Breath of the Wild, and then you can play Into the Breach, and then you can play City Skyline, all like on one console that you can take anywhere with you. The Switch really, thanks to these directs, which are coming thick and fast, is just like adding more weight to why you need to own this system now. It's gonna have something for everyone, where I totally understand people not picking up the Wii U and stuff before because it just had only Nintendo games, and if you're a fan of Nintendo, that's great, but there is a reason nobody bought that console. It's because it didn't have anything else. Yes, you got great Mario games. Yes, you have a kind of okay Zelda game, and then you have a HD version of a Zelda game, and then you have the Breath of the Wild thing that you could also have on the Switch. I mean, it wasn't that great, let's be honest. I like it for what it was, but it's like leagues behind what the Switch has now become. To see how Nintendo have learned from their past mistakes to now, pretty incredible. Anyway, this is running on long because George will cut me out and shut me up. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Then we had like The World Ends With You, great game for the 3DS. Play it, it's a cool RPG. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has like a new expansion. That's a prequel, 500 years set in the past, I think. Yes. So if you like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, buy that. Fuck me, we're getting lots of Final Fantasy stuff on the Switch as well, including Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, which is really, really dumb, but you can play that now because it's out today as well. Nintendo doing this out today thing like they did with Into the Breach and City Skyline and the Pocket Edition thing is really cool. Let's do more of that. Let's have like a major Zelda announcement at E3 one time and then say it's out today, because that would be amazing. Let's do the whole Apple thing all the time. That would be awesome. So we get that. And then the Final Fantasy stuff is like, we get Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remaster. Finally, people can actually play that game with other players, which will show you why it's a really great game. So many people missed out on that series because of the difficulty of owning 4 GBAs and link cables and a GameCube and all this stuff. But now we get to have this really cool Final Fantasy game that people will play because it's got online play. On top of that, World of Final Fantasy, which I watched Pro Jared play all the way through. I never played it myself. Looks fun. It's getting a redone edition called Maxima out for the Switch as well. On top of that, we got Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon and Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, the one that came out on the PS4 and stuff. That's coming to the Switch as well. So, holy shit. And then on top of that, of course, we had the announcements that Final Fantasy 7, 9, 10, and 10-2 are all coming to the Switch. Fuck you if you like 8, basically. Nintendo and Square Enix don't care if you like Final Fantasy 8. You ain't getting it. But it probably means that something's happening to Final Fantasy 8. Whether it's an update or a remaster or something, there's a reason why 8 isn't included. It's kind of dumb, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough why 8 wasn't included. Okay, now we got all that out of the way. Like, that's pretty much everything from the Direct. Oh, apart from, like, Yoshi's Craft World, the new Yoshi platformer looks really cute and gorgeous and has this amazing mechanic. Like, everyone knows I bang on about game design on this podcast way too much, but this game has this weird mode where you'll play all the way through a stage and then the stage will flip around and then you have to play it backwards, where the stuff you didn't see before, the stuff that was in the background, now becomes the stage. And it's like this really cool mechanic where one half of it is designed a certain way and then the other half works entwined with that design to make like a whole entire new stage, so you play it backwards and forwards. That's so cool. But it looks kind of easy, like Kirby's Epic Yarn. I hope not. Yoshi games have been traditionally a little challenging, so it looks good. It doesn't look like it's the same Yoshi game that we saw last year that was being developed by, I think it's Goodfield or whatever they're called. It looks like they're not attached to it anymore, and it kind of looks like an entirely new game with the same aesthetic. But we'll see. It looks fun. Anyway, getting on to the big stuff. Of course, there wouldn't be a Nintendo Direct this year without a Smash announcement, and they did it in the best way possible. They had a cute little Animal Crossing animation at the start with Isabelle. She's in it, as she is here in Japan. And she's like talking about the mayor, the villager, being too busy out smashing it with his bros to be the mayor, that she should be the mayor. But then she receives a letter. And then she gets announced that she's in Smash in like the best way possible. And what a cool character to have in Smash. Having Isabelle in Smash is really, really cool. I'm looking forward to it. She's so adorable. And her movesets looks clumsy and funny and kind of looks like one of those characters that you control a lot with. Sort of like Villager, sort of like Mr. Game & Watch a little bit. I'm super excited about that. I was actually speaking to Aya Kyugoku on the morning of the Direct. She is the woman who made Isabelle and was the director of New Leaf. She's a lovely, lovely lady. And then I messaged her saying, "Oh my god, Shize is in Smash." And she was like, "Fighto!" She just sent me a picture of Isabelle saying Fighto. So, yeah, pretty exciting to have more Animal Crossing representation in Smash. Which ties into the next thing, which is we're getting a new Animal Crossing game. Holy shit, the internet lost its shit. So many people love this series. I kind of understand. I've never been the biggest Animal Crossing fan, but I do love the aesthetic and I do love the feel of Animal Crossing games. The gameplay itself, though, is kind of not usually my cup of tea, but I definitely can sit down and enjoy playing those games for a couple of hours. But yeah, next year we're getting a brand new Animal Crossing game for the Switch, and Tom Nook looks like he's gonna be a big major part of that. So I don't know whether you're gonna be like the new mayor and Tom Nook's gonna be like your secretary, or he's gonna be running the town or something. But yeah, we're getting a new Animal Crossing game finally, which means, you know, we have the big Mario game, we have the big Zelda game, we've got Smash, we've got Mario Kart, we've got Splatoon, and now we have Animal Crossing. All we need is a big F-Zero game, and then we're pretty much set for like all Nintendo first-party stuff coming to the Switch. We've obviously got Pokemon as well. So now we're getting Animal Crossing. The whole first-party lineup is making the Switch even more worthwhile. All the stuff that the Wii U just didn't get. Apart from that shitty Happy Home designer thing. Was that? Oh no, that wasn't on the Wii U. It was that Amiibo festival, which is even worse. Wow, that was bad. But anyway, I didn't even get to like the fact that Nintendo Online is coming. Kind of half sold on that. The NES controllers that are being released for it seem cool though. I'll buy it because I'm an idiot. But yeah, overall, Nintendo Direct, pretty damn good. I'm excited. It made me excited as a Switch owner and also a Nintendo fan. I don't know what you guys thought of it or what Matt and George, if they even watched it, thought of it. But anyway, I need to get back to partying in Tokyo and playing Japanese games. So until next week when I will return, I hope you guys have a good week. And goodbye. Bye, Matt and George. Bye.
Okay, that's
Hello, and welcome back from the break. Hopefully Liam didn't bore you.
What? That was me. He doesn't have a chance to defend himself against that.
I know. I haven't actually listened to it. Were we supposed to listen to it?
I was.
You were.
I was. Yes.
I'm not doing my job correctly.
Well,
I wanted to ask the audience something though.
Oh.
So I was at the gym today, and I saw a guy fully nude.
What?
Just never saw that in the gym. Usually people, wore clothes, or at least wore clothes when I came in through, to use the restroom.
There's usually like
so
shower rooms.
His dick was just kind of just out there, just swinging around. Not really swinging around. It was kind of
important
on the small side, but like.
Were you in the shower?
I wasn't in the shower. He was out in the lockers with his dick out.
Okay, yeah, locker room. I have seen it when I was in college. Boys were getting naked in the locker room, and I didn't get it either.
Yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable, it's fine. But I just want to know, thoughts, guys. And have you been naked in the locker room?
How many of our listeners have been naked in places that aren't showers?
Yeah, locker rooms, just you okay with whipping it out?
Because there's like space between the lockers and the showers.
Oh, a great
you can
deal of space.
At least keep underwear on for that walk. You don't gotta. What? Are you like losing time by not wearing?
No,
by needing to wear clothes between the two destinations.
No, I can see like a towel. You dry yourself off in the shower. You wrap it around your waist, and then you put on some underwear when you get to the lockers. Like I can get that. This guy just was hanging out. He walked to his locker naked.
What's the advantage of that? What is the benefit of that? What?
And maybe he's like home. Maybe he does that at home, and he's just like, I'm an older dude. I don't care. He wasn't old. He was, he wasn't like some old guy who's like, oh, sweet. No, he was just an older gentleman.
What kind of old person is like that?
Well, like an elder gentleman, not an old, like, limping type of dude. Like probably like 40, 50s.
Oh,
You know?
yeah. That's so like dad aged.
Yeah, like had a kid or two, you know.
Old enough to own property with a family.
Yeah,
And a picket fence.
yeah. I don't know if I'm into the whole taking a shower next to, like, I don't want a prison shower, you know.
So the showers that they have in your gym, are they like private, individual booths?
See, I never been over there. I'm gonna check it out now. Because I'm like, okay, well, like, is it just like an open prison shower? Because if it's a prison shower, then I'm probably never gonna take a shower there. I mean, it's not like I'm uncomfortable with myself. It's just,
if they're
I don't
private
want to
booths,
see a bunch of dicks all the time. Is that bad? I don't know if it's bad.
if they're private booths, then this guy has no excuse. That he could just wave his clothes over the booth in the shower.
Well, let's not judge. You know, maybe he's from. He might have looked like he a little European, European in there. It might be a little different over there.
It is.
I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure it's a little different over there.
Oh yeah. They got their saunas in Europe, and they got the onsens, the hot springs in Asian countries. They're also more lax about nudity.
You gotta think like they gotta. Well, no.
It's
Never
an
mind.
American thing, but I think I should point out that this guy would have been in America, where nudity would make his I don't know if they were his fellow Americans, but the Americans surrounding him fairly uncomfortable.
I think I should try it one day. But yeah.
Oh, it's something.
So the Nintendo Direct.
You know, when I was in Japan, I got naked with the boys for the first time when I went to the onsen.
Right.
As a shy, awkward American who's always been like leery about public nudity, I swallowed my pride and tried to do this whole onsen thing, and still don't know if I get it.
Well, you were with yourself, right?
I was by myself. I was with no friends. No friends saw me naked. Just Japanese strangers.
So, what if me and you go to an onsen?
Then we'll have to arrange the times to make sure that we go at different times.
Just whip off the shirt nice and slow, like, yeah, George, I've been waiting for this.
By yourself, yeah.
Yeah, George. Took off that
to
pants.
the wall, Matt said to no one in particular, because George is not there. No, he's not. You're just going to be a crazy guy in the locker room showing your dick off to George, your imaginary friend who's not going to be there. Oh my God, what are we doing, Matt?
Nintendo Direct. We're doing Nintendo Direct.
Let's do questions.
Oh, okay, I'm here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the questions, we got the two of us here actively let me just start that all over again. Let's do questions.
Yeah. Let's do it.
We got one from Tristan M. Saying, hello, first question, how's your day? Second question, I was playing Spider-Man recently and realized something about the game and most PS4 lineups or most AAA games ever. They are open world collectathons with elements of RPG and stealth and Ubisoft towers. I'm wondering if this is making paths to the classical style of video games, or a variation of the classical video game. What I meant by classical video games is similar to classical style film, which I believe he's like referring to classical Hollywood cinema, like the film criticism concept of just like looking at what trends were really sticking in Hollywood cinema from the
for a long period of time,
late silent movies to before the immersive blockbuster Jaws era, and if these elements are going to become archetypical of most video game releases for the next couple decades, like those movies had for those couple decades.
Yeah, kind of like the new type of action films like The Rock is in, Rampage and all that.
I think I've seen... Oh.
Yeah.
I think what I've seen over the years is a new default action game, quote unquote. I'm putting a lot of quotes in the air with my fingers. Whereas in the like 1980s, your default action game genre was the side scroller, and in the 90s it was like the 2.5D pixel shooter, and the turn of the millennium it was World War II shooters for a really long while. Then it was modern warfare shooters. Then now it's these open world Ubisoft Tower collectathons, and I think in 5 or 6 years it'll change again. I think genres and archetypes and trends. Yeah, we're moving to this one now. I think it changes on a timeline that is faster than the trends that had defined Hollywood's classical style in the earlier parts of the century. Video games have moved across their history much, much more faster than having established their trends for entire decades at a time. Every 5-6 years, if not most of, but not an entire decade, like a dominant action genre trend will emerge, but it will get overshadowed by the next big thing pretty regularly, I feel. And I feel like the Ubisoft towers will not last, just like everything else before eventually got streamlined and polished into something else that people ended up liking better as they had their fill of the old stuff. I think you're gonna be okay, Tristan. I think you might be a little too pessimistic. Just remember, Tristan, just think back on Werner Herzog in the Cave of Forgotten Dreams. The long, what feels like a long lifetime of human existence of dealing with this trend of Ubisoft collectathon sandbox games is really an extremely short infinitesimal speck of dust in the grand scale of the universe. So, just think of that every night before sleep, and hopefully you'll be looking more forward to whatever other big trend will undoubtedly feel played out by the time it becomes established and marketable for good 3-4 years.
Yeah, I think that's why people liked Uncharted when it came out. It didn't follow that open world crap.
Oof. And Uncharted nowadays is like dollar store God of War, but with really fun characters and cutscenes. And I said God of War, I meant Gears of War. Sorry, my bad.
No one has ever copied Gears of War properly. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I don't think so, man.
Am I not the
Gears
Division?
of War, you can never get that feel. Like no one has ever like really done that. You know. I don't know. I've been wanting someone else to copy it, like really.
It was the trend for a while when.
What you mean cover shooters?
Yeah,
not
cover
necessarily
shooters.
Just the
Gears
feel,
clones.
The feel of Gears, like just the thickness.
Ooh,
I mean,
coal train.
Yeah, man, just rolling up on a guy, boom, busting his head wide open.
That's mean. Why would you do that?
Satisfying.
That's why.
The sound that they make, it's like I think it's like a baby crying with a
oh my god,
a cat breaking a cabbage. Yeah, they were explaining like the head pop sound, and it was like multiple sounds in one that create that like pop sound.
So there's some baby crying in there.
I think it was like a baby scream and a cabbage breaking and some other thing.
That's
really
pretty strange. I don't know if I want to think about that when decapitating enemies in a video game.
You know, I never thought of it like that way. Anyways,
want to do another question?
Yeah, let's do another question.
Eva Unit 01 says, "Hey, Dad and Sons podcast. I'm a new listener, so I'm slowly catching up with it, but I'm enjoying the ride. My question for you guys is, what is your favorite prosthetic arm or limb design from a piece of media? I think the Venom Snake arm is rad." You remember that guy in Family Guy who has peg limbs for everything?
Oh, God. Yeah.
I think... he's saying, what is your favorite... Eva Unit 01 is saying, what's your favorite prosthetic arm or design from a piece of media? And like a salty old sailor who just has prosthetic arms and legs that are just like pegs. That's funny. That's cute. I appreciate that. And it doesn't have to be a video game because he just says a piece of media. But I do have other contenders, runners-up, honorable mentions. But I'll let you go.
Favorite. I've always liked just having like one arm, just, you know, prosthetic. That would be so sick. I don't know. Maybe Winter Soldier. That'd be pretty cool.
Like a plasma cannon.
Yeah, that might be pretty cool. Yeah, like he looks tight. I like that. I would, man, if there was a way in the future to not get messed up doing that, I would probably want to do that. Oof. Like Elon Musk was talking about possibly getting rid of the thumbs when connecting to the internet, your phones and stuff, and using your brain. And he's like building something for that, like, and maybe merging with AI in the future. Like, I think I would be down with that.
So you want a prosthetic arm beam plasma cannon that you think it's controlled by your mind, right? But at this point in the development of technology, I think it's a very valid question to ask: are you controlling it with your mind, or is the piece of machinery controlling your mind?
Oh man, we're diving deep. We're diving deep, too deep. I definitely need some drinks if we're gonna be diving this deep.
Yo, you remember that old movie feature Grindhouse, the Quentin Tarantino Robert Rodriguez double feature? Did you ever see that?
Yeah. You're talking about the girl with the gun leg.
The gun leg, the gun leg from Planet Terror.
Yeah, that was
How
great.
does she shoot the gun attached to her peg leg? When the trigger's all the way down there, does she like have to bend over, pick up her leg, and mash the trigger? In the movie, she just thinks and it shoots.
It's a movie. It's good. You don't really think about it. You're just shooting a peg leg. It's awesome.
Man, I gotta say, like, in video games, there's a lot of iconic prosthetic designs, like Mega Man's arm cannon, Barrett's arm cannon, Samus's arm cannon. But I really like Deus Ex's arm blades these days. Adam Jensen's hand, actually, I think does a good... Or not just Adam Jensen. There are other characters in the two new Eidos Montreal Human Revolution games who have like multi-tool hands. Their hands will spin around and turn into some other tool, and that's freaking neato. And it's a little more.
You need like a screwdriver or whatever, you just like pop it out.
My arm is a screwdriver now. Do you want Phillips head or flathead?
Yeah, I actually need a Phillips head, and let's go down to like a size T3.
Man,
T3?
wouldn't it suck to get a prosthetic screwdriver hand installed, and it turns out that you don't have that like torque star that you need to unscrew Xbox controllers? Imagine that. You're in like the dystopic cyberpunk future of 2015, and you like don't have a can opener on your arm prosthetic multi-tool augmentation, and you don't have a can opener in your kitchen cabinets. What do? How stupid would it feel to be that far in the future with that much of a miracle of technology strapped permanently to your body, and you still are missing something incredibly simple like two wedges placed next to each other so that they open up a can?
I'm pretty sure there's a knife, and you can use a
knife you don't want to open cans with knives. It breaks the knife. It's really dangerous. Have you ever opened a can with a knife? It's scary as hell.
Yes, of course.
And you didn't slice your palm?
No. See, George,
didn't.
You went to dainty chef school. You know, I had to learn on the streets. We didn't have money to buy a little fancy can opener.
Yo, I got these scars on the streets opening cans for coins.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how they got there. Anyways.
Wait. Okay. Answer me this, Okay, I got a question. I got a question
Yeah.
for the dad and sons. Recently, I found out that I've been opening cans wrong.
What?
So supposedly, you're supposed to like level the can opener with the top of the can, and then cut it from the side.
Yeah, you like spin it around while
You
it's
spin it around.
held in place.
But
They got a little crank on there for it.
I used to just cut from the inside, and I would, it would be level from the
What?
side. Yes, and cut the inside. Because you can do it from that way. Now, it is more dangerous to use the can the way I do it, right? From cutting from the inside. But it's more messy to do it the way you do it. It's way more messy.
Well, you gotta have some priorities, man.
It's like messy
Safety
as hell.
over messy.
And plus,
Yeah.
if the can is not perfectly a circle, it doesn't work properly. Whereas my way, you can still get like halfway, a quarter, and still kind of open up the can if it's not a perfect circle. Anyways.
I've come to think of it, I don't have any memories of trying to open oblong or oval cans. Why don't they all just have the pop top? Like a soda handle,
That costs money. George, that costs money.
I bet in Europe they all have pop tops or something, some like little minor luxury you don't think about that adds up over an entire lifetime of wasted time and wasted money.
Yeah, I mean, wasted time, like putting on, drying yourself and putting on clothes. You just stay naked. Who cares about drying?
You wanna do the next question?
Yeah. You don't want to dive into this more?
We've talked about so many naked men on this podcast that I'm surprised we're not a podcast about naked men. Jonas K asks, "Hey guys, I've heard you guys talk about CRPGs before, but have you ever played pen and paper RPGs? If so, which ones? If you played some before, which computer games, not only CRPGs, but in general, do you think capture the spirit of those games the best?"
I've been wanting to play some pen and paper, like Dungeons and Dragons counts as pen and paper.
Oh,
right?
yeah, totally. I think
Okay, yeah.
that's
I've been wanting to play
not
Dungeons and Dragons for
controversial.
a long time. It's just finding a group
yeah.
that you vibe out with. Like it's not easy. But there's so many stores around here that I'm pretty sure I'll find a group eventually.
One thing that I think is a little hard to convey is how hard it is if you didn't have friends in your respective school who are into that.
Yeah.
Like, I would not mind giving it an attempt, but I don't really have anyone in my social circle who would probably take me up on that. I've played pen and paper a few times. I played Dungeons & Dragons twice. I played the Star Wars RPG, Shadows of the Empire, I think is what it's called. And my friends had set up a fun scenario where we had Jar Jar Binks die in a toilet. But it's so much paperwork. I don't know if you ever had to confront that problem, Matt, but it's like doing your taxes.
Whoa,
You sit
how?
down with all your friends, and everyone passes around some paperwork, and it's basic arithmetic that's about 3 sheets long, and then you have like a 4th sheet with your inventory. The computer, it makes you realize how much the computer does automatically in video games, because it's almost like an analog video game where you use your imagination instead of the screen, which is really cool and something that not a lot of video games convey the spirit of. CRPGs try, but the idea of digitizing a game master who comes up with a story on the spot is something that's gonna be maybe at least a decade off from really fully realizing in video games. Until then, you have elaborately developer-made scenarios and custom player-made scenarios. An old game like Neverwinter Nights. I guess the modern analog is Board Game Simulator, but
You can never really replace the human aspect of that, because you can really do some crazy stuff in D&D with a human dungeon master.
I wouldn't be surprised if like a chatbot though kind of concept emerges to improvise procedurally generated Dungeons and Dragons campaigns in the future. I wouldn't be surprised. It would be crappy. It would not replace the humans, but for people who don't have humans in their lives, or people who want to go up against a computer dungeon master, I bet someone could write a chatbot that would be able to create that kind of fun for however long it can last. There have been some video games.
I want a Siri dungeon master, dude. It has to have voice, dude.
Conversational video game. There was this old experimental game that I'm trying to remember that had AI chatbots talking to you. It's so weird that there's not even any RPG gameplay going on. It's just like the human being there trying to come up with a story is something that I think is the defining line between video games and pen and paper games. And there was one video game I did play that was a experimental indie downloadable game where you talked to characters who procedurally told a story about how this pair of spouses were cheating on each other. You found out through their dialogue, and it would be different every time. And I bet that over the next decade, there probably will be at least one major push from a studio with funding and polish, and maybe even like an indie studio with funding and polish, which I guess wouldn't make it indie, but some production values game will make good on that concept. We'll make an attempt at bringing chatbots into gameplay mechanics somehow.
Hey, Google, let's play D&D.
Dude, maybe?
Yeah.
Alexa, BRDM. You just set Alexa behind the cutouts of maps and stuff. Yeah. Alexa, what do we need to roll to land this critical?
That would be so tight.
And the computer just does the work for you. At that point, you really have to ask yourself, are you playing a pen and paper game with a computer, or are you playing a computer game?
Yeah. That would be good. Until then, you have to be the dungeon master and enforce your friends to play, and that's pretty much it.
Last question, but not least, is from a guy named Jonathan. He says, "Hi, Dad and Sons, long-time listener, probably since episode 6, and I'm now planning a long 3-month-ish, trip to Japan. I was wondering what gaming-related places you would personally recommend to visit, stuff that probably wouldn't show up on TripAdvisor and such. Thanks for the awesome podcast." Thank you, Jonathan. And isn't it a shame that we don't have Liam here for this week? Well,
yes.
I guess you and I will have to fill that gap with our specialized informed knowledge.
We do not have specialized. We definitely have to get Liam to answer this question again next podcast.
We've been to Japan for days, though.
Yeah, days. That's not good. He's gone for 3 months. I always enjoyed hitting all of the game centers because they're all different. All of them have like different sections, that cater to certain audiences. Like I only found like one game center in Shibuya that was like not Shibuya, Akihabara. Akihabara. Aha. There's a ha. The way the train station says it is so different.
Akihabara.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say how the train station says it, and I can never do it because there's an extra added at the end. Anyways, that has like straight up like fighting games on one floor, and then there's some other ones that have like better dancing games. So you have to kind of hit like every single game center. There's a ton of them. And you can find like one that you like really like. Now, as far as like the local shops, other than the game bars, there's a lot of game bars, but to play some old school games, but I don't know about any small mom and pop game centers. Have you ever heard of those?
They're out there.
Yeah.
A lot more of them in Japan than in any other country, probably.
Of course. Yeah.
But they got their chains. They got the Taito Game Centers, the Sega Centers. And you do see a lot of shared branding. I think Pacella has a hand in the arcade business. I went to an arcade in a city 2 hours out of Tokyo by train, and it looked a lot like one of them inside the city. But there are independents every now and then, like anything else. You got to look a little harder to find them, but I would recommend it. It's weird trying to recommend stuff that isn't a TripAdvisor staple, because nowadays on the internet you can Google a lot of Japan stuff and find it just as easily as if you were on TripAdvisor, which is why I would want to recommend visiting the underground gaming cafes. The stuff that I do cover on my channel is stuff that you might not see on TripAdvisor, but it's still really well documented, well publicized. Like, if they don't have a bunch of TripAdvisor reviews, they're going to have a bunch of Yelp reviews. So if you want to get away from either of those strategies, though, and really improvise yourself an itinerary, what's really fun is visiting locations from video games in Japan. If you've played Yakuza 1 or 2, then walk around Shinjuku Station. And I'm trying to remember the names. The like northeast section of Shinjuku, where you walk down Godzilla Street, and the Yakuza games, they didn't have the Godzilla statue up there, but when you're walking through it in real life, you're like, wow, holy crap, this is from Yakuza. If you've played a lot of The World Ends With You, then please go to the Shibuya Scramble. If you played Jet Set Radio, you got the Shibuya bus terminal that you would be skating around in the video game, is a place in real life that looks a hell of a lot like it does in the video game. And that's one of my favorite things to do whenever I'm on vacation anywhere, is to just go places that I have been to before in video games and seeing them in real life.
Yeah, I have to go back next year.
If you want to be real trashy, you can play Fatal Frame 5 and then go hike in the Aokigahara forest, because I actually did that, and it was really trashy, and I feel like I respect myself a little less for it, but at least I could be like, hey, I went to the spooky haunted suicide forest in the game and in real life.
Ooh, too scary for me. Too scary for me. Even with the Logan Paul stuff, I was like, oh god, no.
Anyways,
like how you just
when trying like not to think of how tasteless that kind of tourism can get.
I mean, the fact that he found someone is like, okay, I probably don't want to go.
I don't even think I had a camera on me.
No, I don't mean what he did. I mean because he found someone. The fact that he found someone who did, I was just like, I don't know if I don't want to go there.
I was surprised by the chances, because I sure as hell did. And I had just a pleasant hike through the woods.
Yeah, the vibe out there must be serious, man.
It really was. It's beautiful. It's right next to Mount Fuji. No wonder people go there to do what. Anyways.
Oh God. Oh man, this podcast has gone to so many. And Liam's not here too.
Anyways, we gotta wrap up. Thank fucking God. So this was. Yep. This was the first, hopefully one of the few dad and son podcasts that we have to do with 2/3 of your regular Dad and Sons hosts. Well, technically, a third is there both in spirit and in prior recording. So we're all here. Some of us just aren't as here as the others, but that's fine. We will pick it back up again next week. And until then,
nope. Like us on iTunes.
Like us
rate us on iTunes,
Microsoft Views.
5 stars.
Sync us onto your iPods.
Sync us. Subscribe. Subscribe and
make a mixtape of our podcast and leave it at the school bathrooms.
Whatever you can do with the iTunes podcast or whatever, just do it. Just absolutely do it. We love you for it. We'll give you a little kiss if we see you in the con. Yeah.
Ooh, Matt, I don't want to get influenza.